Welcome back to Casual Conversations with Mario Morrow. Today we are blessed and fortunate to have with us a dear friend of mine who I've known for a number of years, the CEO of Healthy Kidz, Adams-Lawton. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Well, I called you at the last minute, so you just came through like a trooper to come in and help me out. But we appreciate having you on. I just want to introduce the people to you. Everybody in Detroit already knows who you are, right? You're a former educator, born and raised in the city.
No.
Talk to me. Tell me.
No, I'm from New York City.
Okay.
Harlem, New York.
You adopted Detroit.
I adopted Detroit, so New York will always be my home. 125th
What part of New York?
in Harlem, 125th in Lenox.
Oh,
So that's
I used to hang out at 125th and Lenox, 125th and Broad,
we won't tell
Broad Street.
we won't tell nobody that.
Morningside Apartments.
Oh.
In the hood.
Yeah, so I came here. I've been here all my life, most of my life,
Yeah.
but I'm originated from there. Go home every year. But New York will always be my home.
Yeah, I love New York.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, there's not much difference between Detroit and New York. The people are different. It's a little faster pace, but you can transcend to Detroit quite well, and you have.
Right.
You went to college at Wayne State, graduated. Oh, you were pursuing engineering.
Correct. Oh, you remember?
Yeah, I know.
Wanted to be an engineer, and didn't work out that way.
Right.
Because all my teachers were foreign, and it was hard to understand, and you need mathematics to succeed, and I wasn't on that road. And everybody in my family were educators at the time, and I knew I loved kids and I loved sports. And
so you took another path.
I took
you
another
decided
path.
to go
Education. Wanting to be a phys ed teacher. And of course, those jobs weren't readily available at the time. So I ended up, majoring in mathematics. And
for somebody who said they didn't do well in math, you became a math teacher, but you did quite well.
I did well in math, but as you went higher, I couldn't understand. So when you got into calculus and differentiation equations and stuff like that, then you had to have, a better grasp of mathematics. But math has always been.
They had a lot of TAs, teacher assistants.
They were from another country too.
Right.
I tried that.
Right. No, I'm just saying, I had similar issues.
Yeah.
And you went into education. So you ended up getting a teacher certificate.
Yeah, from Mary Grove College, because it was right around the corner from the house at the time. And then I went on and got my master's. I kind of lucked up. When I got ready to do, it's like how God works in people's lives. I had been at Go Lightly Educational Center, working in the after-school program, and going to Wayne State at the same time. And then, because you could be a teacher at Go Lightly at the time if you were a student at Wayne State or you graduated from Wayne State.
Right.
So, but I still didn't take that route. So once I, finished I was getting ready to do my student teaching, ran into this fabulous lady named Juanita Wesley at the mall. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm getting ready to do my student teaching." She's like, "Well, where are you doing your student teaching?" I said, "It's at Schultz because it's right behind the house." She says, "Well, why don't you do it at Go Lightly?" I said, "Well, I've already got all the paperwork and all that." That was on a Friday. On a Monday morning, I get a call from whoever she knew, Miss Dooley, I think that was it. She got her to change my assignment to Go Lightly.
Dooley over in HR.
Right. She got her to change my assignment.
Region 5.
To be at Go Lightly as a student teacher. So I became her student teaching. But since I was doing a dual degree and also in special education, emotionally impaired kids, I had to do another one at Belleville School, which is down near Belle Isle. But Miss Wesley always kept me there to do her lesson plans and all that for the whole school year. Right. So on Sunday night, I would run the lesson plans over to her and everything. And then, again, how God works, Dr. Cheryl Thomas was our principal. And she asked me to come to the office. I thought I was in trouble. And she's like, "No, the lady that teaches," Mrs. Wesley taught 3rd grade. The lady who teaches 4th grade is getting ready to retire. Would you like the position? And it was like everything was like God sent. And the lady retired, and then the same kids I had for 3rd grade now became my 4th grade students.
Right.
So I already knew them, so it made my transition a whole lot easier. And I actually spent 25 years at Go Lightly, from the after school program all the way through my teaching career, where I retired in 2008.
So the interesting part of everything you said was, did you say your student teaching opportunity first was at Schultz Elementary?
Correct.
I was at Schultz.
Okay.
When you would have come over to be a student teacher, I was a teacher at Schultz.
Okay.
And then later on, as I progressed through my career, I became an assistant principal at Golightly, where you were there.
Correct.
And you were running the after-school program. Dr. Cheryl Thomas was there, and that was a different environment.
Very.
That was a you know.
I wouldn't have changed it for the world.
It was a who's who
You are correct.
of the elite in Detroit. Did not have buses dropping anyone off. The community was in such a way that only maybe 7 kids walked to the school. Everyone else was getting dropped off.
Correct.
Right? And I came from Bobian.
Okay.
So I was used to a little more raunchous behavior. And as assistant principal, your responsibility mainly in public schools was discipline and lunchroom. Man, I thought I was, where am I? You know what? I had to start trouble to keep,
Right,
you know.
right,
But you
right.
guys, you know, excellent teachers, a foundation of parents working together was new and a new experience for me. But you guys, you were very well respected as a teacher. And you knew all the kids.
Yep.
Because you did after before school and after
After
school.
right.
Right. Which launched your second career,
Correct.
if you will. So that was the Healthy Kidz at the time. Was it Healthy Kidz at the time, or
No,
was it?
so what it was, the kids in my class actually named it Healthy Kidz. So I did a contest on. It came from me wanting to be a physical education teacher, and to the love of sports. And when Golightly built the new school onto the old school, I begged Dr. Thomas, because it was only supposed to be kindergarten through 3rd grade, and I begged her to let 4th grade come over there. And she allowed us to come into the new building. But what that did was our kids didn't have physical education. So what I would do when we lost our prep, because I still wanted to be that phys ed teacher, is that I would take my kids in my class and do a different sport every week or month or however we did it. And then what happened was when everybody else lost their prep and we was all out there, they sent all their kids out there. So I'm looking at it, I'm outside with 200 kids on the field trying to figure out.
On your prep.
On my prep, trying to figure out what we going to do, but I made it happen.
Right.
So then that led to the kids asking me, Miss Lawton, can we do this after school? Can we play soccer after school? Or can we play baseball after school? And that's what it led to. So it started with soccer, then it went to basketball, football, baseball. It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And other schools saw what I was doing. They was like, we want to be like Golightly, and we want to have this. How you do it?
And then the entrepreneur in you
came out.
established these after-school programs all over the city of Detroit.
Yes, I did.
Which was good.
Yeah, it was. It was something, and it's just because of the parents at Golightly, that's where it gave me these opportunities that came in my lap. So what happened is I was running out of my classroom, simultaneously trying to teach and run a sports program with 500-600 kids, to Daisy Tinsley walking into my classroom, which her son, Jonathan, was in my room at the time. And she says, have you ever thought about doing this in other places? And I'm looking at her like, what are you talking about? She says, if I get you some money, could you take your program and go to another part of the city and do it? I said, I guess I could. And I said, so she said, okay, write it up or whatever. So I wrote it up for soccer, because soccer is the sport that I've played all my life. And so I wrote it up and I gave it to her. So she was like, she said, well, how much does this cost? And I said, I don't know, $100, $200, a ball and some cones, like that. So I get a letter that says, we're going to give you $25,000. What?
Right.
Where do you want to do it? My grandmother was an educator in Southwest Detroit. She was at Boynton. She was at Munger. She was at Priest. She was a principal in Southwest. So that's all I knew, because my grandmother raised me, and is the Southwest. Didn't go to the schools there, but I still had that love for the Southwest when she was a principal down there and a counselor. And so I said, I want to do it in the Southwest, because I saw the need down there. And so I did it. Had all these kids show up. The city, the county, and all them came to see it. It was like, wow, you did this and this. And it's like, well, we got some other parts in the city we need you to do.
Right.
So I get a note, and I still have it. I'm going to frame it one day. We got a contract from the county for $1.6 million.
Wow, amazing.
To do what I was doing. And so it got too big to me to try to run out of my classroom. So I retired in 2008 to run Healthy Kidz full time.
But you never lost the education, and that's all part of the
number
growth
one,
in the education.
still to this day.
And I've watched that that transition of growth and success over the years. I'm very proud of you, what you've done now over at Kendall. You had the help of Jimmy Settles, the UAW, who came through and helped you out. And because I went over there with you to see this place, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, this basketball, and I've redone in my years as a principal, I've redone basketball floors and ceilings and stuff like that. I'm like, this is a lot of money.
Jimmy Settles felt the same way.
It came through, came back. We were proud to be a sponsor to help you out with that. But through years of working with these kids, the key here is that they always come back to you, number one. We've seen people go from high school, high school basketball players to collegiate basketball players, success stories. Professional. Male and female. So, I mean, just think about it. And that's just the athletic part because, the academic part is even more telling of the tribute when you see all the Facebook posts and you see the folks coming. You established a project in Idlewild.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
The Idlewild Project started off during the first summer of COVID. We had a carpool lady, because we went to private school, a carpool lady by name Miss Julie. We had years ago, she had a son that's my sister's age, so they were more friends than I was with him. And I heard that she had moved. I told my sister works in the emergency room at Henry Ford Grosse Pointe, and she had, it was a year. Y'all know how that was for her, and I just was worried about her. I said, we need a break. We should just get in a car and just drive somewhere. I said, let's see if we can go find Miss Julie. Okay, Miss Julie should be in her 80s, So I said, I hear she lives in Idlewild. Let's go. As a kid, we would vacation in Idlewild. So we had little bits and pieces of Idlewild. And so we got in the car, we found Miss Julie. And she took us for a tour of Idlewild. And I remember as a child, as a teenager going up there, it didn't look nothing like what I saw.
Right.
So and I started driving around. And I was like, oh my God, this looks like, oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And so we happened to we drove past a park, and we are partners with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, which is one of our largest funders. And I saw it on a gate, and I was wondering if I call my boss.
What's my man's name? Who he was very supportive in helping community organizations such as yours. He was DNR.
Bruce Ross?
No, it'll come to me in a minute.
Okay.
I'm having one of those moments.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
So what happened was, so I called the powers that be, my bosses, over the grant, and I said, what if it's COVID, so you can't go anywhere? They weren't going to do the program because of too much risk and all that. I said, well, if I take only 4 or 5 on a bus and they space far apart, I ran it down the story. If we take them up there and we board up the houses and paint the houses and do the different things, just as we're coming down the streets, it doesn't look so bad from the streets.
Right.
And he thought it was a great idea. And he was like, yeah, let me see if I can get it approved and everything. Got it approved. They would do it in shifts. The kids would go up. We'd go up on a Monday, come back on a Thursday. We would go up and do community service projects. Right. But before we did that, I wanted to do more, something really, I said, I really want to help somebody up here. Because people that even living in the houses are look like they're about to fall down. And there are people actually living in those houses. So I came across this gentleman, and he was supposed to cut down some trees so we could help us do this project. And his name was Chucky Martin. And I went to Chucky and I said, if I could help one person here, who would it be and why? He says, he got in his truck, follow me. He says, this gentleman here, his name was Rambo. His real name is Lamont Williams, but his name is Rambo. He says he's lived up here most of his life. His grandmother's house. She brought him up from Detroit.
I watched the post.
Yeah, Detroit. And he has no water, no electricity, and he's been living like this for 25 years. So I got my team of kids, and this is all the kids come up with this stuff. I don't come up with this stuff. I said, okay, he's going to be our project. So I let the kids thought it was going to be a scary experience and all of that because he has some mental challenges and so the kids, I said, okay, this is our project this summer. They looking at me, I'm looking at, this is his house. We're going to do something. So it happened to be a small part of the house, looked like the grandmother maybe added, but everything was burned out. Everything was burned, charred. So he was living on a couch. and he would string a generator, like a little teeny
Oh,
generator
yeah.
with cords and stuff. I don't know how he stayed warm.
Right.
I really don't. And so the kids said, well, Miss Lawton, let's do this. I said, well, y'all design it. How we gonna
It
do
got
it?
bigger
Then
and bigger and bigger.
So we end up doing his
Yeah.
that apartment on the end of his
Right,
house. The rest of the
right.
house still needs a lot of work.
Okay.
But he is living with large.
Yeah.
I mean, he never had a microwave.
I saw the finished products, a product of what you guys did, and I mean, you should have got awards for that. I mean, it's amazing.
made less to
Especially
hope.
to go all the way up to Idlewild
Yeah.
and then come back.
3
What's
years.
next? What's next? I mean,
What's
you
next?
accomplished
What's
so
next?
much, and
So what's next now? So I'm really big. I really love teenagers now. 4th grade was cool, 7, 8-year-olds, but I'm really into our teenagers now because I think that's where they need a Miss Lawton in their life. And it's called Get Your Mind Right, Miss Lawton. I
Right.
get their minds right.
Right.
So what we're doing now is we're doing a workforce development program. It's called Healthy Kidz Rebuilds, and we're really 48221. That's where
Okay.
we're at. So what it is that the kids go out into the community and we help people fix up their houses. We put roofs on houses. We paint
Amazing.
fences, cut grass. Around Tindal is mostly senior citizens who
Right.
don't have the means or the money or can get it done. And somebody that's honest and they love the kids and the kids are giving back. And so each summer I give the kids a challenge. I come up with a challenge. Now we can go with the challenge, we don't go to, but every year they've gone with these challenges that I come up with. So the first year was one day you're going to be someone's mother, father, husband, and wife. What would you like to see Tindal Activity Center and Jemina Park look like? And a lot of the kids were college students at that time, and they were so good with computers that they came up with this 3D, because I thought they were just wasting time.
Okay.
3D spin around, all this different, of the whole area and what they would see for their kids. Or we would want a splash pad, we would want a walking track. So these kids came up with this idea, and it was so well done. The gentleman that I talked to from the city of Detroit that helps me get goals when I don't want to buy them and stuff like that, I said, Mr. Sumner, can you come in my office real quick? Look what these kids did. He said, Miss Lawton, could I bring some other people here to see this? So he brought the big wigs from the city, and they all sat around. They couldn't believe it were African-American kids, majority boys,
Right.
that put together this thing, this plan. So this is right before COVID hit, 2019. Before I could get back to my computer, I get an email from the city of Detroit. We're not part of the city of Detroit, even though the city of Detroit owns Tindal still, but we have the rights to it. And they said, we're going to give you $850,000 to make the kids' dream come true. And I said, I must be dreaming.
Right.
And so COVID comes 3 years out, didn't hear anything. They said the money was gone and all this. And I was disappointed. And so one of the kids had graduated from college and all. They said, Miss Lawton, whatever happened to that project? I said, oh, yeah. They said they didn't have any more money, this, that, and the other. I said, well, let me see. He said, well, that was a good idea. I was like, yeah, it was a great idea. So I made one call to JJ Verdez, who works for,
Right.
I called him, my Harlem buddy. And I said, JJ, remember that promise you told me that you was going to help me get a new playground and all that? I felt guilty, a little guilty. I said, what happened? He says, give me a few days. Dan Gilbert's foundation stepped in, put in a beautiful playground, and the kids went to the community and asked the seniors what they wanted, and they had meetings with the city planner, so our teenagers got to see all the
now
different
where's the
things.
playground located?
It's on the street side now. It's on the 7 Mile side.
That's where the church is.
Yeah,
I
right
saw
between
that.
the church.
I passed
that's
by
brand
that.
new
Yeah,
from the
okay.
Dan Gilbert Foundation.
And I used to, during the summer, I used to see a lot of the kids coming from the neighborhood, walking across 7 Mile back to your facility, and I think they were doing community service.
Okay, we keep
So,
them moving. We keep
yeah,
them moving. So.
that's great.
But so he stepped in and new baseball diamonds, new walkway, new lighting,
Yep.
and all of that. So we did the ribbon cutting in May. So that was their challenge for that summer. Like I said, every
They
summer.
need to name the field after you.
So then the following summer, I know what the issues are up in Idlewild. There's no housing. There's nothing for teenagers to do up there, or kids to do, really. They said, Miss Lawton, you always cramming. We stayed at people's houses who have opened their homes to us, ones that look fairly well on the outside.
Right.
So I was like, and the kids want to be together. They don't want, so we were staying at the Morton. That wasn't working out too good for us. So the kids said, well, why don't we build tiny houses up here? So then when we come up here, we have a place to sleep. And so I said, well, y'all got to practice first because y'all not going to go up there and we're going to embarrass and not do it. So if you ever get a chance, the tiny house was in the Social Security parking lot. The kids has built a tiny house. It's on the trailer, and you can see it on Wyoming and 7 Mile.
Okay, I'll go by there and see that.
Yeah, it's at the Malco Center, which is our other space across from Michigan First Credit Union. But in the parking lot, there's a tiny house. It's on a trailer, so it can be pulled to wherever we want to do. So the kids designed it. They put the bunk beds in there, so it'll sleep 6.
Yeah.
So we're gonna this summer it has to be on display at Belle Isle because the DNR gave us the money to build it, and then at the Outdoor Adventure Center it'll be on display saying that the kids actually built this with licensed contractors helped them out, and then it'll go up to Idlewild, so where the kids will have somewhere to sleep.
Man, you've done so much. You know, I like to think that I had something to do with that.
Yeah, you did.
Well, let me just tell you, when before we close, when I was assistant principal at Golightly, one of the things that the teachers would tell me is that they didn't have access to supplies. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't have access to supplies? They're like, well, we got to put in a list and it has to be approved. And, I was like, okay, well, this is crazy. So what I did, if you remember, I just opened up the storeroom and said, just go get what you want.
That's right. Cut out that red tape.
Just get
middleman.
Get what you want. I don't care. The door was open. People were like, well, the door's open. Is it a trap? What's going on? You got cameras in here? And I like to think that if you open the door, you've opened the door of opportunity for these kids, for these seniors, and you just say, go get what you want. You've done that with the projects. You've done that with your the computer challenges. You open the door, they'll go in and make things happen.
Yeah.
And you've done that.
They will, but if we didn't have a Mario Morrow in our lives to show us that and see us, I tell people I reached out. I didn't get here by myself. I got here because of the people I've met along the way. And I'm not, like I said, with Jack and Jill, I ain't been in Jack and Jill forever, since Paxton, when Paxton was 34,
right.
So, it's just the people, and then watching my former kids and my former students bring their kids back to, to the, oh no, they're going to Healthy Kidz summer camp.
Right.
They're going to the after school program. I think I'm on grandkids now.
Yeah.
But, so we will celebrate 34 years next year of summer day camp.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and we keep going. Now it's called What's Good in My Hood Outdoor Adventure Camp because everything is done outdoors because of COVID.
So finally, if people want to help, mainly financial or maybe volunteer, how would they contact you, or is there a website? Is there a phone number?
So there's several ways.
Yep.
Love to come up to Tindal. I would love people to come up to the Tindal Activity Center located at 10301 West 7 Mile in Detroit, 48221. Or you can go on our website. It's Healthy, HEALTHY, Kids, KIDZ, INC.org. We have a donation button. We're always looking for donations. We're looking for volunteers because it's now become a 7-day operation, almost 16 hours a day. So we utilize our seniors are working in the programs and doing different things. We have a huge after school program with almost 100 kids every day after school. So there are ways, our phone number there, but we're really busy, so a lot of times we can't get to the phone. It's 313-307-8869. Again, that's 313-307-8869.
Well, we're going to continue to help you get that story out because to do these types of things, you need funding.
Always.
So we're going to make sure. And if there's anything that we can do, let us know.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having me.
it.
I love it.
Yeah, this is great.
Thank you.
That concludes this series episode of Casual Conversations with Mario Morrow. See you next time.